Hey everyone, and welcome to the Null Channel. Today I wanted to discuss why I think that you should do a hackathon in 2022. For the longest time, I thought them to be a complete waste of time, to be honest, as there is really zero way you make something of value in a single weekend. Well, generally speaking, with software at least. And most of the time, I find that any code that was made during these hackathons gets thrown away. But that all has changed in the last couple of months. And I don't think it matters if you're a senior engineer with 15 to 20 years of experience or just some kid not even yet in high school. Now, what you can expect to get out of a hackathon might be different depending on your current walk in life, but that does not mean you cannot glean anything out of it. But before I try to convince you of something, let me prove how dedicated I am to this. In 2022, I will be part of at least 2 hackathons. Not only this, but I want you to do them with me as well. So if you want to be a part of a hackathon in 2022, join my Discord. I have started a Discord channel just about hackathons. So if you want to see the Null Channel send at least 2 teams to 2 different hackathons, then go ahead and join that. So again, if you want to join one but don't know where to get started, my Discord server is going to be a great place to start. I'm even working on a way for the Null Channel to track its hackathon participation, and I'll probably do an end of the year, I will do an end of the year hackathon participation video showcasing all the awesome things made during the year. Anyhow, let's get into why I think you should be competing in a hackathon, no matter your experience level or age. Well, it all started a couple of months ago when Civo said they were going to do a hackathon. Now, Civo is a really cool company from my perspective. All the engineers I have dealt with are just fantastic. And no, of course, Civo did not pay me, nor could they pay me to say this. But I mean it. They are really, really awesome every single time I've had to interact with them. And so I decided to compete in the hackathon yet again, despite my misgivings about hackathons in general, due to my general pleasure in dealing with the Civo people. Okay, so I joined a team of 2 other people to make a Civo cluster API provider. For those of you who don't know what Cluster API is, my hackathon buddy has a really fantastic explanation. So I thought maybe we'd start with Cluster API and what that is and what it brings to the table. I know, Gregory, you're kind of our resident expert on Cluster API, so I thought maybe you could give us a quick, 30-second intro into what Cluster API is and what it brings.
So first of all, I would like you to think about Kubernetes operators. So idea behind Kubernetes operators is that we could encode the operational knowledge about specific app. So Cluster API is kind of a similar concept. It's basically an operator for an infrastructure. So there's 2 the most important parts of Cluster API. It's core project of Cluster API, which encodes very high-level logic. Second part is actually provider-specific component, which is called a Cluster API provider. So it's actually the part that we did. So yeah, it basically knows very specific things about the infrastructure where this cluster is running. Communicates with API of this infrastructure, and it's able to start machines on that infrastructure directly.
And if I might add, I think one of the things is it brings a declarative state to your infrastructure as well, right? It allows you to declare that your infrastructure in like a manifest file, yes?
Yeah, exactly, because Cluster API, it actually uses Kubernetes API.
So we set out to make a Civo provider. And guess what? We did it. Well, was the code pretty? No. Can you go check it out? Sure. Did we do some really hacky things around Cluster API and the Civo API? Yes. Yes, we did. Is any of the code useful going forward? Maybe, especially if you want to learn, but probably not in a production environment. It would be super cool to get this to be a real provider for a production environment, but it is a long way to go. But it works. It does its job. So Merrick, why would you recommend we do something that most likely will end up with us throwing away 90% of the code that was written? It would cause us to lose sleep on that weekend and get no time to play our new Xbox game. Well, this all comes down to you and building a better you. In our team, we had everyone from a college student to myself. I guess I'm a senior engineer or something. I'm something. I'm definitely something. If you are a new graduate or a high school student, a middle-aged stay-at-home parent who just is wanting to learn a new skill, I think a hackathon will be for you. But I warn you, I don't think you should do one of these by yourself, whether you're a senior engineer or somebody that's just starting. I think you're completely missing the purpose and what makes a hackathon such a great idea anyhow. It's all about coming together to try to do something. Jabril, how much of this did you know before starting?
Out of 100, I'd say 10%.
No, that's really cool because I just wanted to bring it up because you were actually super helpful. But what if you have 20 years of experience? What can a person like that really have to learn? I would still say a hackathon is definitely for you. Yes, I know. Learning is the biggest reason to do a hackathon. And so why is it that I'm saying somebody with 20 years of experience is going to learn from some throwaway code? Well, what is the goal? If it's not to win the hackathon, well, winning is part of it, I guess. But really, it's not why I'm going to do 2 next year. It's not about that sweet prize money that you might win. It comes down to the team, and I'm going to give you some recommendations I have for building a team for a hackathon. Most hackathons let you form teams up to 4 individuals, and I recommend that you fill all of them up. It gets the best experience, but not just of people of your own experience. That is an absolute waste. In a team of 4, I would recommend a seniored individual per younger, inexperienced individual. And when I say younger, I don't mean by age, but I mean time dealing with software and doing software engineering. Now, Merrick, are they just going to hold you back? Well, if winning is your only goal, then maybe your extra team members are going to hold you back from winning a couple $100. But if making yourself better is your goal, then this is the exact right mixture. And I know these senior engineers are asking right now about how bringing on someone new is going to help them. Well, I can tell you this. I have absolutely never understood a subject better than I worked to dumb it down to its core roots to make a YouTube video about it. I think it's something every engineer absolutely should do. Not just because helping others is the right thing to do, and it is the right thing to do, but because you are going to grow as an engineer as you work to share what you already know. When you have it in your head and you have to boil it down, condense it down for someone else to understand, you are never going to know that content better. And young engineers, I urge you, don't you do it by yourself. You have just a very limited learning potential if you go and do it by yourself. You might be able to hack some code together. You might, maybe. But if your objective is to learn and grow from this experience, then I absolutely implore you to go out and find some older senior engineers that can share some of their experience with you. I'm not saying they have all the answers, but they are absolutely going to help you in places you might get stuck. So go out and find yourself a team. I honestly think hackathons are a complete waste of time if you're going to do it by yourself. Don't know where to find a team? Well, join the Null Channel Discord. I will be doing at least 2. And while I am limited by time, I hope some other senior engineers will be around the channel and will step in and will be able to make at least 4 teams for next year. So what did I learn in this hackathon? Well, I have many years of writing Go and a few years writing operators and quite a bit of cluster API under my belt. So what did I really have to learn? Well, it turns out quite a bit. I've never made a cluster API provider before, so that was new. I had never used the Civo API before, and it was refreshingly simple and easy to use. So technically, I learned more about both of those things, and I learned quite a bit about them. I even learned about how the inner workings of Cluster API works better, because while trying to make the provider and trying to get it to work with Cluster API, I got to learn a lot about what it was expecting. And if this had been it, that would be awesome. But none of this matters half as much to me as the following. I got to work with two guys on two different continents. I got to share some of my knowledge and they shared some of theirs. We had a young dude on the team that consistently questioned why we did things and forced us to defend what we were doing. And this was awesome. It made me solidify why we do things in Go and how and why you make an operator and how Kubernetes versions their own APIs. It was absolutely fantastic, and I thank him for that. It gave us a time to argue about how it should be done versus how we were doing it, why they are different, and what the time constraints meant for us to get it done. Because in real life, while your time constraints might not be 2 days, you usually have time constraints and have to make trade-offs for that. And this just condensed it down into a small amount of time. Not only this, I think everyone on the team learned something, and we got to learn about each other. And because of that, it was fantastic.
First thing was networking is hard, yeah, really hard. Second would be, I learned a lot more about Kubernetes and Cluster API as a whole. Before now, like as you mentioned in the beginning, I had not really worked with Cluster API. I had heard about it, but never really done anything with it. So I learned a lot more, and I appreciate the work that goes into these kind of projects a lot better now. And yeah, I also learned that no one really writes good code, so I feel less bad when I push bad code.
Thanks for calling my code out there, Jabril. That hurts. So I'm looking at you. Yes, you. Go ahead, join a hackathon. Just do it. Find a team, find a technology you would like to know better, and go ahead and learn it better with a few people. Learn from them, and help them learn. This is what a hackathon is about. It's about the community, and I think that's what we really need to focus on. I just wanted to start a conversation with you all and offer you to join me in the hackathons that I'm going to do next year. Not only that, I want to challenge you to do a hackathon next year. I started this channel to see you grow, and I think this is a fantastic way to do it. And don't worry, if you've never done one before, that's completely fine. Now, that being said, I'm going to be doing 2 next year. Come join me. Do something cool, learn something cool, and help others do and learn something cool. Let's make 2022 the year you do a hackathon. If you do one, make sure to let me know so I can feature it in my news. And at the end of the year, I'm going to make a video that features all the projects the Null Channel people took place in and all the projects that we made. So make sure to let me know so I can record it and give you a interview, because that's what I want to do. I think that it's so important that we give shout outs where shout outs are due. All right, that's it for me today. I hope that you're going to do a hackathon in 2022, and I look forward to seeing your projects. If you do not like hackathons and did not like this video, I encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, stick around, and see all the cool things that you're missing out on.